and welcome to this week's Fibro section. So this week in the trusted notepad, I want to talk a bit about, hang on, it's not that one, hang on, dizziness. It's very apt, isn't it? Yeah, dizziness and fibromyalgia. So if you hear a lot of clanging and crashing and banging around, the kids are in the bungalow, so you know things are going to happen. Holly's cooking a curry. It is what it is. I'm trying to fit this in between Poppy's Zoom calls. Anyway, let's get on with it. Less of my problems. Poor balance, falls and dizziness are common complaints in people with fibromyalgia. They can lead to regular injuries, bumps and bruises. And I've been suffering with this a lot lately. I've always suffered with dizziness and bumping into things, but it's got really bad lately. I keep knocking into doors, into handles, anything. The other day I even managed to find a hard part of the sofa to whack myself on. So it's just anything, and I'm knocking my drink over and things like that. It's just that clumsy, you know. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. So I was interested in why this happens and how we can help it, really. So the last thing we need is to hurt ourselves, because we're already in constant pain, so we don't want to injure ourselves and hurt ourselves more. Balance issues and falling frequently can lead to a fear of falling, which can make you scared to remain active, because you would, wouldn't you? If you're off balance and you keep falling over, you're not going to want to move very much. 73% of fibro patients have a fear of physical activity, and nearly 75% have problems with balance. So that's quite high, isn't it? It's quite a high percentage. Balance issues and falls might also be related to changes in how we walk. Dizziness is most often when we first stand up, like the head rush you feel from standing up too quickly. The dizziness can make you sway or stagger and sometimes fall over or maybe faint. Research shows that this stems from dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system, or ANS as it's known. Right, there's a lot of big words in this research. Now, we all know how I am with big words and how my fibro brain and mouth work. So if I can't pronounce any, which there will be some, I'm just going to put it on the screen, okay? So I will tell you. The dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system is called Dysautonomia. Dysautonomia. I think that's right. I'll put it on the screen. It can also be called orthostatic intolerance, neurally medicated hypertension, or postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or otherwise known as POTS, P-O-T-S. Basically, it means the heart and the brain aren't communicating properly with each other. In dysautonomia, the blood pressure drops when you stand up, creating the dizziness. In POTS, the heart rate speeds up as blood pressure drops. In a 2008 study, dizziness and palpitations were more common than fainting. They also discovered that POTS was one of the most common fibro symptoms. A 2009 study showed that fibro patients have an abnormal gait, manner of walking in other words. They have a shorter stride length, a slower pace, and the sway of the body when walking. So that's really interesting, because when I did my pain management course, they filmed how we walked before the course and how we walked after the course, and everybody could see an improvement, even in me, who, you know. So you do, at the beginning there is that swaying, and then it was trying to teach us that you know, our body's not going to break if we do move. It was found worse in the people who had more pain, fatigue and depression, which is, you know, understandable. It is suggested that the better we are at treating our fibro, the less these symptoms should show. But I'm quite good at listening to my body and dealing with the fibro, but I'm still experiencing these symptoms. I did wonder if it had to do with tiredness, because there was a time when I didn't have much sleep. I was having nightmares waking up. Mark's also not sleeping at the moment because he's got problems with his lower back, and if he doesn't sleep, he likes to keep me awake, so in turn that makes my dizziness worse. So I know tiredness does come into play with my dizziness, and it could be for you too, but I don't think it's the main cause, if that makes sense. My first port of call is going to be my GP, and the reason I haven't phoned her already is because I'm going to phone her tomorrow, which will be today for you, on Wednesday, when I know that she's in. So I'll give them a ring, and then she rings me back. So I'm going to discuss it all at length with her tomorrow, and whatever she decides the outcome, I will share it with you in next week's fibro section, or the weekly, either or, probably both, knowing me. Medications the doctor might try could be SSRI or SNRIs. I'm just going to put it on the screen. And blockers. Some of these medications could ease some of the other fibro symptoms too. If you smoke, it is suggested that quitting might help alleviate several symptoms of fibro, including dizziness. To help with walking and gait, physical therapy might be a treatment your doctor uses, or you could ask about trying yoga or Tai Chi if it is safe for you. And the same if you haven't checked out my Jazzercise vlog that I did last week or the week before, can't remember. It's the week before, or was it last? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, whenever Jazzercise week was, check that one out, because there's a lot about that in there. Until you find ways to help, you must be careful. Mobility aids can help while walking, but be careful of canes, because they can unbalance your hips. So I have been using a walking stick a lot recently because of my dizziness and because of how I'm feeling. So I have been using a walking stick, and I know it throws my hips out because you're unbalanced. But when I went to yoga, a lady there that had fibromyalgia suggested to get 2 walking, like hiking canes. You know, that you hike, you sort of do that action, don't you, when you walk with them, like the hikers do. But she said then you're more balanced and you can use that action to walk, so it's a bit more balanced for you. So I might try that at some point. Also, seated exercises might be the safest option for the time being, because then you haven't got the chance of falling over, you know. So types of dizziness are vertigo, but that's when you feel like the room is spinning, and I haven't got that because the room's not spinning, it's just that I'm wobbly. Or lightheadedness, the feeling like you might faint. I don't think I've ever felt like I was going to faint, but I just get the lightheadedness. Reasons for dizziness. There are trigger points in the jaw and the neck that can create a sensation of dizziness. This could be the nerve sending signals to the brain about where the body is in its environment. There could be an issue with blood pressure. There are many different forms, as previously discussed. Other reasons could be an illness, allergies, low blood sugar, anxiety, panic attacks, and anemia. So as we have discovered, dizziness can be from a manner of different things. And I think the first place to go is your GP, because they can try and find out the cause of it, which is what my GP will do tomorrow. She'll probably talk to me. I'll talk to her a bit about the fact that it could be a bit of tiredness, but I don't think that's the only reason, and how she's going to treat it. But I don't know about you, but I get literally covered in bruises. I would show you my arm, but it's got a sleeve on it at the moment, but that's got a massive bruise on it from where I went into Holly's door handle. I bruise quite easily, but I also bruise because I knock into stuff. So yeah, I'll let you know how I get on at the doctor's either next week or in my my weekly, but I'll see what she says. But I think it's the first port of call for us. It's like I say, be careful is the first one. You've got to think about your safety, but also find out the cause. Don't just accept that's a part of fibro, I don't need to treat it. You do, because who wants to be scared of walking, and who wants to be scared of falling over all the time? And that's how I'm getting. I'm like, oh, what am I going to knock into now? Knocked into the kitchen cupboard this morning, just putting something away. I bash into, oh, it's ridiculous. But also, next week in the fibro section, I'm looking into proprioception. Now, I will go into more detail with this next week, but I, if you didn't know, used to be a teaching assistant in a primary school. I used to look after an autistic boy, and I led something which was called Gym Trail. And Gym Trail was mainly for all the children that had problems with their physical movements. And proprioception was something that I dealt with in Gym Trail. But it's also something that I think I'm struggling with now. And it's really interesting. So if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe if you've not done already. Don't forget to hit that bell so that you will be notified every time I upload a video. Leave me a comment if you want to, and let me know if you suffer with dizziness, if you bash into things, if you knock things over like I do. Maybe you didn't realise that that's a part of fibro. Well, it is. It might be a part of something else too, and that's why it's important to get it checked out at the doctors, because you don't know what's going on there, and they might have to do further tests, or they might try stuff, but it's all trial and error, isn't it? That's all it is with fibro, really. So yeah, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you all on Saturday for the weekly. Take care, love you lots. Mwah. Bye.